So the way that these work is I'm going to be doing about one of these a week. I usually do one for the course to show you around the course and all that, and then I have pre-recorded weekly introductions just to tell you about what the expectations are for the week. I have found that at least by the time you get to pre-calculus, people are usually more self-sufficient than some of my other classes. So then I try to do one session a week on a topic. So I have some topics that I've already recorded from previous times I've taught the class, and then I try to pick something new, or if I feel like I need to improve my previous video, then I'll redo that. So you can expect one of these a week. I will, send notifications when these things go out, when I've scheduled them, that sort of thing. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen, and I do everything on a PowerPoint, and then I share the PowerPoint afterwards so that you have access to that. So that way you can follow along, you can print it out if you want, or whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever you want to do. So you're in pre-calculus, MA141, and so I wanted to pick some sort of fun picture. This is the only one that I found that was saying that pre-calculus was fun. All the other ones were probably people who hate math that were creating memes. So I was like, this class is actually fun. A lot of people end up going through this class and they enjoy pre-calculus much better than college algebra or previous math courses because there's a lot more applications in this course, and so you start to see where math is used in the real world. So this is a fun course. So you will find, yeah, yeah. So expect to have some fun. So my plan is I'm going to just start out with, if you're not sure how to print slides from a PowerPoint, how you can do that, and then going over navigating. I have set up our Blackboard course. I've rearranged the menu a little bit to try to make it a little bit easier to find things or kind of, group things together. I'll go through the textbook, some resources, and then the expectations. So first off, if you want to print the slides, when you go to print from PowerPoint, there is a box for full page slides, and if you click that, then you can change it to handouts, and then that allows you to print more than one slide on a page. You can write notes, that sort of thing. So if that's how you want to print, if you want to print the slides, you can do that, and you can even pick certain pages or certain slides that you want to print as well if you find some that are more useful than others. So starting with navigating the course. So I've just taken screenshots here. That way people have this if they just want to look at the PowerPoint and they have an idea where everything is. So this is what it looks like when you come into the course. I have changed the layout so that instead of coming into the regular course homepage, the first thing you see are announcements. That way you can't miss any of the announcements. I also changed the color slightly so that it stands out because I have so many classes I can't tell which one I'm in. So it's like, let's just change the colors a little bit. So there's this, the first thing you see here is sign up for text announcements and reminders. So there's this app called Remind, and it is a way for me to basically send texts or little mini reminders out rather than having it go to your email or having to email everybody. So if you want to join, and a lot of people already did, is you can click join class. And then you would have to enter in your phone number in order to get text reminders. And then there's a website that you can use to check the reminders. I have the app on my phone, so the reminders just come to my phone, and then I can reply through the phone app. So I'm going to be sending out announcements of live sessions, sending out afterwards, like a link to the YouTube video and the PowerPoint, sending little reminders like, oh, you need to get work in, and it's a way that you can also reply and send me messages as well. That will go to my phone. So it's a little more immediate than trying to do everything via email. So this is always going to be at the front, at the very top. It's the scrollable thing where all of the reminders will show up. So that way, even if you don't sign up for it, you'll still see the messages that I've sent out. You just have to scroll. So they'll just show up there, and then you can scroll down to see the past messages. And so that's just going to sit there the whole term. And then underneath, you have to scroll down for more announcements. So every time I have an announcement set on this page, I email it out. So you'll also have a copy in your Grantham email. So If you are worried like, oh man, I'm going to forget to scroll, it will be in your email. You'll have a separate email. I already sent one out today for week 1, so that will all be there, but you can also see it here by scrolling. Those tend to be longer announcements, more details, that sort of thing. I try not to send more than one a day because I don't want to inundate you guys with emails. If you haven't already, I recommend that you put your Grantham email on your phone because it's through Gmail. So all you have to do is add a new Gmail account and then type in your Grantham email address, and then you can have that on your phone. So I do that so I can get emails on my phone. I can send emails on my phone. I also have Google Hangouts. So same thing, if you install Google Hangouts on your phone and connect your Grantham email account, you can then send me messages through Google Hangouts. So those are great. Google Hangouts is great if you need immediate answers. Otherwise, email is, it's not like chat. So email's a little slower. I do try to respond to emails quick though, within a day, usually quicker if possible. So those are ways to contact me and also to figure out, so that you always know what's going on in the class. So this is what you see. Now I'm going to focus in on the menu bar on the left because I have rearranged that a little bit. So this is really, I'm going to zoom in on each one here because it is a lot. And I don't know, depending on how big your screen is, this may not be easy to see. So first off is the instructor page. So the instructor page is where you can find my bio. It's where all my office hours are listed, and office hours are times where I am guaranteed to be at my computer unless I'm in a meeting or, but basically I'm working for sure at a computer. So so you'll know when I'm online essentially. And then it also has contact information like my office phone number, my email address, that sort of thing. April, do you have a question? It says that you raised your hand. If you have a question, you can go ahead and type it in the chat box or turn on your microphone to ask it. There's a purple bottom right, there's a purple button, and you can click there to expand to get to the chat box. Okay, it says you're typing, so I will wait patiently. No question. Okay, you probably just accidentally pushed the button. Okay, not a problem. Okay, so that's the instructor page. So zooming back out, next that I have here is the syllabus. So the syllabus is where you can find the weights of all assignments and Grantham policies, late policies, SI policies, that sort of thing. In this class, everything is weighted equally. So everything is 20%, assignments 20%, discussions 20%. Quizzes are 20%. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think the final's 20 and the midterms final are 20. So everything's just 20%. So that's easy enough to remember. But I do recommend just scrolling through the syllabus so you have an idea of what's going on. Also in the syllabus, they tell you the expected time it's going to take you each week. So that's something helpful to take a look at to help you plan your schedule and when you're going to be working on classes. So next is the Connect Now with a Live Tutor link. So we have tutors that are available 24/7. They're through tutor.com. You get 4 hours a month, but you can request more time when you run out. Tutor.com is great if you have specific questions. April, should we use the note forms that are out in, oh yes, okay. So yeah, I'll actually, you know what, I'll talk about this later. So I will address your question later in the presentation. I do specifically talk about the note forms. So hang on. I will get there. I will ask that or answer that. Okay. So specifically tutor.com here. So you have 4 hours. They're available 24/7. They're great if you have specific questions, like if you're working on a specific assignment question. And how I recommend you use them is that you take a screenshot of the question or download the file with the question and then attach it. That way, they're not misreading the question. You don't have to like type the equation wrong, because usually if somebody says they use a tutor and they got the answer wrong, what happens is when they typed it, they might have missed some key information, especially if it's word problems, or they might have typed in the equation wrong. So it's just best to take screenshots so you don't have that error. If you have questions that are more like, I don't understand what a sequence is, more topic-based, not really tied to a specific problem, those are good questions to ask for me. So which source you use depends on the type of question you have. It also depends on what time you're working, because if you're working when I'm not available, then tutor.com is your go-to because they are immediately available. Next, I have added a link on course expectations. So the course expectations are where you can find the late penalties, what types of submissions I allow, as like file types, and other expectations to the course. So I will talk about the course expectations later in this presentation. Now, I didn't really move around the content. All I did was just add something labeled as content. So that's where you can find everything. If you're not sure where to start, click on weekly content and then week 1 and go from there. I don't recommend trying any other shortcuts. I really recommend only using weekly content, ebook, and discussions. The other links I don't recommend using unless you're ready to submit the work, because you might be missing some important information that explains something, and that's in the weekly content. Now I have added a section called resources, and so I've just kind of set it off to the side, and this is where I've put all of the different resources available to you. So the first link is instructor videos and live sessions. So that is where I'm going to put all the recordings of these live sessions. So this one right now, once I upload it to YouTube, I'm then also going to post it there. So, and then I will also send it to Remind. So you're going to see it in multiple places in the classroom, but you can always find it on instructor videos. The PowerPoints will be stored there. So if you want to look at the PowerPoint, you can go there. I also have previous live videos from other previous terms that I've taught. And so all of those are there as well. So think of instructor videos. These are all videos that I have made for the course. Then we've got supplemental materials, and these are additional websites and videos, and these are not created by me. So these are created by other people. These are websites that I found or that other students have found that they thought had great information that I've decided to share. It also has videos, other YouTube videos by other people that are helpful. So those are, if you're still struggling on a concept and maybe my videos didn't help and the textbook didn't help, that would be your next resource to see what is there out there to help you. Next in the list are tutorials. So in that link, you're going to find tutorials on how to use Blackboard, and that would be things like how to submit assignments, how to view the feedback on your assignments, how to view the feedback on your quizzes and exams. And then there's also tutorials on how to type math. You are not required to submit your work typed, but if you would like to, there are tutorials there that go through how to do that. But that is not a requirement. Next, oops. Oh, you guys didn't see it. I clicked a button you didn't see, so. Next is the suggested time management schedule. And so you click there and a Word document will download with a suggested schedule for how you should manage your time, basically. Now, this schedule is made up, it's assume a perfect world where you have no other responsibilities, because I don't know when people work or when you're free. So this is just a base for you to start with. And then you can make changes based off of your own schedule. So I have just broke everything down day by day. And then if you find, oh, you don't have time to do anything on Tuesdays or something, then you can adjust the schedule as you need to. So you can use this as a base. Though what's really powerful about it is that I've mapped which videos go with each section, which questions on the assignments go with each section. Practice problems. So there's no practice problems given to you in this class at all. So I've picked out practice problems on each section to kind of help you learn the material. So it's a good guide, and even if you don't follow the schedule day by day, at least it tells you what order to do things in, and that can help you a lot towards being successful in the course. And then there's a new link that's been added to all courses, is send email. So you click that and you can email me or anyone in the course. So you don't have to try to remember my email address. You can send an email directly from Blackboard. So that's a new thing that's been added, and so I just put that at the bottom with getting help. So that's the layout. It's a little different from most of your classes, but I wanted to try to group things together in a more logical way so that you can find all the resources together in one spot. Now, when you click on instructor videos or live sessions, this is what it's going to look like. So at the very top, I have a link to subscribe to my YouTube. So all the recordings, I'm going to post to YouTube. So you can subscribe, and then you can get notifications if you have the YouTube app. And if you know where my YouTube is, then you can also see videos from other courses. Like if you need a review of something and it was covered in, say, college algebra, you can take a look at my college algebra videos, and then you can review the material. So that way you're not tied to only the pre-calc videos. You can use my previous videos from previous courses as well if you need to review. So that's the subscription link right there. This, the first picture on the left underneath that is the link to where you are now, basically. So it just takes you to the same application. So you can bookmark it. It's going to be the same link every time, or you can just choose to always click this picture and to join the live session when it's time. And then on the right, when you click that photo, that's going to take you to where all of the live sessions are actually recorded, and that's where all the PowerPoints are going to be. So those will be organized by folder for each week, and then you can click into each week and then look at what videos are available. So right now is everything I've copied everything from when I taught in August, and I copied all of the weekly introductions and stuff from August. They're in there as well. So if I redo any, then I will replace the link, but I've kept the August one, so that way if somebody decides they want to work a little bit ahead and I haven't recorded my updated introduction yet, they still have an introduction that you can go off of. So I may be updating those videos as we go, but at least you have everything for the whole term there so far. And then underneath that, I have a Google Calendar. So this is basically listing when my office hours start and then when all of the live sessions are. So the live sessions are in a different color. So you can see that I have the next one is scheduled Monday at 6 p.m. and that's going to be covering 1.5, which is analyzing graphs of functions. You can change the weeks. You can change whether it goes by week or month, or you can print. You can click on them and add them to your own calendar, but at least I'm going to try to schedule everything out. I only scheduled out for this first week right now because I'm waiting to, get enough answers on the survey so that I know when the best time is to schedule. And I may have to reschedule things based off of when things come up, but I want to at least get pretty much the rest of the term scheduled out so that, I can plan around it in the future. You guys can plan around it, that sort of thing. But, these are not required. That's why they're just supplemental. You don't have to attend any of them, but they're helpful. So I recommend, even if you don't attend, at least watch these. Now, when you click on supplemental materials, this is basically what it looks like. And you scroll down, there's more things when you scroll down. I have links to publisher resources. So the publisher has tons of things, tons of resources. So there's a website for the textbook. There are extra instructional videos. So there's a study guide. So that's the note form April had a question about. There are guided note-taking studying guides, essentially, for each section of the text. So I recommend you do those because it helps you take notes, because a lot of people aren't sure how to take notes in math. So if you find guided note-taking helpful, then clicking on the study guide there and downloading those forms would be very helpful. There's also links to pre and post tests, to step-by-step solutions to problems from the text, and video solutions to selected problems from the text. So there's a lot of resources available from the publisher. And then when you scroll down, I have a folder with tips for studying math, time management tips, and some additional resources that I've sort of added into the class. So are there any questions so far on kind of how I've organized the class and where you can find things? Okay. So I said that there's lots of resources with the textbook, and we do have an ebook. So I do want to go over the ebook. So I have a video here for basically showing you how to navigate the textbook, how to use it. I'm not going to play the video here. It's on my YouTube. This is actually made for the 105 textbook, but it's the same publisher, so everything looks exactly the same. Actually, I wonder, because I don't know if I play it if you'll hear the sound. But there's also this YouTube link, and then you can watch it on your own time. Or if you've taken college algebra with us here at Grantham, then it should be familiar. It's the same publisher. Everything will look familiar there. So but I do have that linked in here on how to navigate the ebook and figure all that out. So when you use the textbook, so the success organizer, that's the study guide, the note forms, that's what I recommend you use to take notes on each section. So I have the link here in the PowerPoint, and after this, once I upload this to YouTube and I post the PowerPoint, if you're on Remind, I will actually send a reminder with a link to this PowerPoint. Then you can just download the PowerPoint and click on these links. But the success organizer is the guided note-taking that I recommend. And so what I recommend is you do a section and then work practice problems. And so I have suggested practice problems in my suggested schedule. And I suggest the odds because the odds all have answers that are in the ebook. And the step-by-step solutions to every odd problem are available on CalcChat, which is associated with our textbook. And I have the link here. And then some of them have videos that actually walk through the exercises as well, and that's through CalcView. So the best way to learn math is to read a section and take notes, then do practice problems. And then when you feel comfortable, move on to the next section and do that. So this is what the textbook website looks like when you're on the PreCalculus one. Oops. I think that's the link here is not the correct link. That is the college algebra link. Hold on, let me get the correct link. And you need to make sure there's a drop down there, and you have to make sure that you have the correct. Okay, let me use my stylus to write. So this should say PreCalc 10E to get you to the PreCalc website. But the picture is exactly the same as what you see on the PreCalc website. So this is just where you can find everything. The solutions has solution videos to all the checkpoint exercises in the textbook. So if you don't have time to do practice problems, doing the checkpoint exercises are a good substitute. And so then you can watch videos to see if you're on the right track. Topic-based videos are under the instructional video tab. We have practice tests that you can use under pre and post tests. Guided note-taking PDFs are under the success organizer. CalcChat has the worked out solutions to odd-numbered exercises, and then CalcView has videos to some of the odd-numbered exercises. So if you go to the textbook website, you'll see this page, and then you can go and navigate from there to wherever you need to go. So I recommend bookmarking the website and making sure you bookmark the correct one, that you have the right drop-down selected. So that's the textbook. Moving on to some more resources that are available. Calculators. So a lot of people always ask me, what calculator should I have? If you like a physical calculator, I use the TI-30XS2. I think it's the most common TI you see if you're at like Walmart. It's like $10. There's usually, you can get a Casio for about the same price that's just as good and does everything you need. You definitely want to make sure you have a scientific calculator because we will be doing things with factorials and probabilities. So you want to make sure your calculator has access to that. So I've got two that are linked here, and then if you just search Google for calculator, it'll find one. I prefer the Desmos one, so I'm going to just actually bring that up. So this is what the Desmos calculator looks like. So you can do squares, you can do square roots, you can do fractions. The fractions are nice because it just sets up the fraction, and then let me actually, so it says 50 over 150, which is equal to 0.33 repeating. If you hit this button here, it converts it to a reduced fraction, 1/3. So that's really nice. Later in the class, we're going to have to do some things with probability. So you have to hit the function button here. We are going to be using NPR, NCR, and this is the factorial button. So these three buttons here we're going to be using. We're actually also going to be using sine, cosine, and tangent, and inverse sine, inverse cosine, inverse tangent. And we're going to be doing things in degrees and radians. So right now I'm in degree mode. Click this, I'm in radian mode. So you want to make sure calculator, if you have a physical calculator, has these buttons. Most scientific calculators do. Otherwise, this calculator gives you everything that you need for this class. So I like the Desmos calculator. There are a couple other options here as well. Online graphing calculators, we will be doing a lot of graphing. So Desmos also has an online graphing calculator, which is amazing. So I've got a link there. Apparently this also can do, I just learned this past weekend, I was actually at a conference Friday and Saturday, and I met the CEO of Desmos, which is really awesome because, like, among anybody who has to do math and graphing, like, he is a math god as far as, like, his Desmos is amazing. So I was really excited to meet him, and I learned that Desmos can do calculus. So if you have to take calculus after this, Desmos is going to be your friend there too. So there are tutorials here on how to use it, some neat things. And then GeoGebra is another one. GeoGebra is really good for when we do trig, because GeoGebra is more sort of like geometry with right triangles and things like that. So, but it also does regular graphing, and GeoGebra does 3D graphing, which you'll need when you take Calc 2. So there's some benefits to both of these. And now that I've gone through the navigation of the course, the textbooks, some resources here, next is the course expectations. So this is going to be for overall for the course, and I'm going to make a separate video on week 1, just the things you need to do for week 1, but these are expectations that will hold through the whole course. If you've taken a course from me, then you'll be very familiar with these. These are not different from any other course that I teach. I have the same expectations. So the university late policy is 5% per day. I usually grant a couple days leeway, and if you contact me prior, I'm usually more lenient, and with my late penalties, I don't always apply 5% per day. Maybe, you know, depending on the situation, it'll be 5% per week or something like that. So I am, depending on the situation and making sure you reach out to me. This is the policy of the university, but I can be more lenient. And I will be more lenient when circumstances call for it. All assignments can be submitted for a 5% penalty, but this does not count discussions or quizzes. So this is just assignments. And so that way you're still learning the material. Plus, if you find out that you just really bombed something, you're like, oh man, I thought I was on the right track, but I was totally wrong. You got like a 30%. When you resubmit, if you fix what you got wrong, say you get 100% on your resubmission, that 5% penalty means now you have a 95, which is much better than your 30%. So definitely resubmissions are allowed, especially for this class in particular. most people lose points because they're either not showing enough work or they haven't actually answered all the questions. And so that way, if you resubmit, you can show more work. You can say, oh, I forgot to actually answer the question. You can do those things that you missed, because that's usually where points are lost. And then just a note that there are things out there that will solve problems, solve algebra for you. Those are great for checking your work, but don't use them on anything graded. If I find out that you've done that, you're not doing the work yourself, and so that's a code of conduct ticket, because you're basically using a program to solve for you. So only use them on work if I give you permission. When we get to matrices, there are some that I give you permission to use those when we get to matrices, because doing matrices is really difficult by hand. So there are some circumstances where I give you permission. Otherwise, you need to do everything yourself, but it's great for checking work. And then the discussions, there are a lot of research discussions in pre-calc. You're going to be researching something pretty much every week. And so whenever you do research, you have to be very careful about plagiarism. And so I'm going to be continually warning, like the best thing is put it in your own words, explain, summarize, don't copy and paste. So I'm going to be looking for that, because it's so easy when you're online to accidentally plagiarize. And so I just want to give you a heads up. Pay attention, be very careful, especially because we're going to be doing a lot of research. So are there any questions on anything on this slide? Okay.
Good.
You're good too? Perfect. So assignments, you do have to, there's these things called application assignments. We actually have multiple things turned in each week. There's a lot of things to turn in. There's, as far as assignments go, there's a journal that has to be typed. And then there are worked out math problems, and those do not have to be typed. It's easy enough to type up a journal, but typing up math problems is very difficult. So you are welcome to type them, but I also accept photos and scans. Just if you're going to submit something that's not typed, you want to make sure that it's easy for me to read. It's not blurry. Everything is in order. It's clear where each problem is and what your answers are. If you can make your stuff a single file, so if you take multiple photos, and I can tell you ahead of time that your math problems are not going to be they're not going to be one page, like you're not going to be able to put everything on one page. April, yeah. You didn't realize that I did allow that. Yes, I do allow photos for work. So, yeah, so most of the work is, like, when I do the problems, I usually have 2 or 3 pages of work for some of these assignments. So if you're going to use photos, you can take pictures and then email them to yourself and put them in a Word document in order. There's a website called jpeg2pdf.com, and that allows you to just put the pictures in order, and it creates a PDF, a single file. Or there's a phone app called Genius Scan. There's tons of phone apps out there to turn pictures into PDFs. And so you can do that too, and then email it to yourself and then upload it. Because yeah, typing up math takes a long time if you are not good at it or you haven't done it. I've done it for so long that it's really easy for me, but I don't want you guys to be wasting your time typing instead of learning. So photos, if you have access to a scanner, those are accepted. I will, if I can't read it or if it's too difficult to grade, I will let you know and ask you to resubmit. But definitely, I recommend taking advantage of that, because I'd rather you spend your time learning than trying to type something up and fighting with the system. For discussions, so just the biggest thing I see with discussions are people forget to do replies. So usually in pre-calc, it's very easy to make the minimum word count because you're doing research. So that's usually not a problem, but people forget to do discussion or replies. So you do have to do a minimum of 2 reply posts to your classmates, and they do need to be substantive. It's a little easier in this course to do substantive replies because they're research, and so you can add more. If you did research and somebody didn't mention something, you can add that in. So usually the discussions are, they're definitely much easier in this course than in like college algebra. So, but just keep in mind that these are the requirements for a 100 level class, 75 word minimum. You can have as many words as you want. Some people are afraid of having their discussions too long. I don't care. If you want to have a long discussion, that's great. I'm not going to complain about that. I just want to make sure you have your minimum. And make sure, because we're doing research, you know, you always include your references and everything. So that's basically the course in a nutshell. Actually, before I have, let's see, I have the course open somewhere before I take questions. So I do have the course open here. I just want to show you the weekly content, because I want to make sure you know so week 1, we're in week 1. I'm going to do a separate video specifically on what you need to do for week 1, but the big things is that you need to know for this class. You have a discussion, you have an application assignment, you have a quiz, and a reflection journal. So you have 4 things to complete each week instead of a typical 3. So you want to keep that in mind. You have to scroll all the way down. You have 4 things to complete. You got a journal, and the journal is your problem-solving process on the application assignment. And the quizzes in this class are not timed. They're multiple choice, except for the week 1 has one that's not multiple choice. But they're not timed, and you have 4 attempts for the quizzes. So if you're coming from college algebra, this course is set up differently in that you have more things to turn in, but you don't have things that are timed. So I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of that. And then I will go into that into more detail when I post my week 1 introduction video. But I think that is it. I'm going to click on the instructor videos just to show you. I'm going to click on live session recordings. So this is from last term. I will replace this with a new one, but I put it in there in case somebody wanted to, you know, work ahead. And I don't actually have any videos for week 1 because week 1 in August, I was out of town for a wedding. So it wasn't in a wedding. What was it? I don't remember. Maybe that was graduation weekend. I didn't have time to make a video for week 1. So there's no week 1 video, but I will definitely be doing videos for week 1. But starting week 2, I have videos from the previous term, some sections, modeling, you know, and then I have like these introductions already set, and then I'll be replacing them as I do them. And then there are introductions that you can, or the PowerPoints that you can download here. This one wasn't put in YouTube, so that's why there's not a thumbnail. So I'm probably going to be redoing this one so I can put it in YouTube. But if you want to work ahead, you're welcome to, because I have all of these videos for all the rest of the weeks here already. And then I'll just replace them and update them as I need to. So, are there any questions?
I'm all set, thank you.
All right. I know this is a lot, but I appreciate you guys being able to sit through this whole thing, the whole 40 minutes. I'm hoping to have a chance to film my week 1's introductions today. So probably as soon as I get after this, I'm going to try to record that and then put that out in the classroom as well to go through week 1. But at least now you have like the introduction, you have an idea of like the whole course and all that sort of stuff. So if you guys have questions, you can give me a call, email me, however you want to contact me. There are tons of ways to contact me. So I'm looking forward to this class. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I usually really enjoy the discussions, and people really enjoy the assignments because you actually see where math is used. So it should be a good course. So I'm going to let you guys go. If you're signed up to remind, you will get a notice when this is posted on YouTube. Sign up to if you're subscribed to my YouTube and you have notifications on, you'll know immediately when it's posted. Otherwise, just But if you have the Blackboard app, actually, Blackboard notifies you when things are added to the class as well. So I usually get reminders or little things like, oh, this was added. So there are tons of ways to find out when things are added. But if you guys have questions, just let me know. So I guess I'll pop off. All right. You guys have a great rest of your day.